what are IDs and classes? So to use CSS, tag names can be used, but it is not effective. So if we want to style something in HTML, we want to style something, so something like a P tag or an A tag. So these are some tags we can style. So I can take that tag, so that's the P tag or the A tag. But mind you, we can have a lot of tags inside my HTML code. So I can have close to 20 P tags or close to 90 A tags. And if I just select the A tag, it means I'm selecting all of the A tags, and every style will be affecting all of them. But meanwhile, I want to target a specific one. Yeah, so that's where IDs and classes come in. Now, unique selectors, which are the ID and class. So the ID and classes parameters are called unique selectors. So they are used to select items or tags uniquely, and can be used to make the tag unique. So as I've already said, so making the tag unique. Now, applying CSS directly in the tag doesn't require ID or class parameter. So when you are putting your CSS directly in the tag, it doesn't require ID or class. So we'll see that in a few minutes. Then to apply CSS externally or in a style tag, we specify the ID or class. And for IDs, it should be unique, it should not be empty. So for IDs, like, it should be unique, like it shouldn't repeat itself inside your code. So it should be unique for a specific tag. And it should not be empty, so it shouldn't be empty. So the name you use for the ID shouldn't be empty, and hash is placed before the ID name. We will see that. Now for classes, it should be used more than once, so it could be used more than once. So unlike the ID, which is just for one specific tag, for classes we can apply it to a lot of tags. So a lot of tags, and dot is placed before the class name. Okay, now let's look at how we can add CSS to our HTML. So let's say, I'll go to my VS Code. To add a class is very simple. You just do class, or first I'll just do ID. Now ID being equal to, let's say, p underscore tag, and I'll say 1. So that's the ID name I'm passing. Now it shouldn't be empty, it should be something like this. So p tag 1. So anything, it should be telling the browser that, okay, there's actually an ID for this p tag, or an ID for this tag. Okay, so that's the first tag that's the first ID. Now you can have the same ID for two p tags, or the same ID in your code. So it should be just one, so it should be unique. Okay, now how can we apply this in our CSS? So it's very simple. You just go to your style.css. So you can go also to your style, as in the style tag inside your head. But for, let's say, the style directly added to your p tag, you don't need any ID. You just do style, then you pass your CSS directly. Okay, here I'll just do dot. So sorry, it's an ID, so hash. Now for IDs, to get them, you need to use hash to get them. So hash, then the name will come. So for IDs, now what's the ID name here? P tag. So hash, then the p tag will come. Then you bring two parentheses. Okay, so two curly braces, sorry. So opening and closing. So you do it like this. So the name will come, that's the p tag, but it should start with hash to know that, okay, this is actually an ID. So hash p tag, then two curly braces. Okay, so what about classes? Now I can also create, so you can also use the same class here. So you can just do class, then I can just do p underscore tag. So the name is actually the same with the ID, but wait, this is actually not ID class, ID parameter here, so it won't conflict anything. But let's say I did the same for here. That's where I'll see the confliction. Okay, so if I do this, that's where I'll see the confliction. So I'll just do this, change this to 2. Now for classes, you can use it for two particular, you can use it for many, like like not just one. So it's not unique, not just one tag. You can apply it in a lot of tags, you see. So that's the difference. For IDs, you use it specifically for one tag, but for classes, you use it for, let's say, two or more tags, you see. So you can use it one, two, and so on. So for IDs, I can apply it to a specific tag, but classes can be applied to a lot of tags. Now to, let's say, apply classes here, I haven't written any code yet, so that's why I'm getting an error here that okay, it should be empty or something. So do not use empty rule sets. That's what they are taking. So you can see they are getting the element ID p tag. So me using the hashtag here made it easy for them to know that okay, there's actually an ID. But to tell them that there's actually a CSS, just do dot. So you start with a dot, then the tag name will come. Oh, sorry, the class name. So p tag, then one. I think that's it. Then when I put it on it, you can see class being equal to p tag one. So that's what we are talking about. Now this makes it unique. So I can now style the particular ID per what I want to style. So it means it will only affect that particular tag which is carrying that particular ID. Do you get it? So that's what we are saying. So when you are styling a particular thing here, you just use ID or classes per what you want to do. So maybe I want to style a particular tag, I use ID. So yeah, it's unique. And when I want to style like one or more tags, I just do classes to actually affect those tags. Okay, now we are done with, let's say, adding it to our CSS. We are done with IDs and classes also. Now let's look at writing our CSS code. Okay, now to write your CSS code, it's very simple. It should take us to the next slide. Now the next slide is saying that okay, for text formatting with CSS, we need text formatting with HTML. But for text formatting with CSS, you need to, let's say, uh, apply these things. Okay, now in text formatting, the following CSS properties can be used to format text. So you can have font family, font size, font style, line height. Okay, now what I'll do right now will be the color parameter or the color property here. Now this color property is used to, let's say, change the text color or change the color of a particular text. So we are dealing with text formatting, so I think everything should be about text. So you want to change a particular text in your p tag, you see, so you add it. So let's see how we can do that. Now go to our VS Code. Now this p tag one is actually an ID, so I'll just indent it to make it look good. Then I can just do color. Now this is where VS Code is very important. Now it will actually let's say pick it up, like as you keep on typing, it will auto complete it for you. So you can see, I can see some color here which specify that okay, there's an attribute. Now it makes it simple for me. So when I click this, you can see there are colors too coming. So all you need to do is you just type in color, semicolon, then you click on enter. It will just, let's say, leave a space like that for you, then semicolon will end. Now every CSS code need to end with a semicolon to, let's say, tell the CSS that okay, this is the end of my CSS line. See, and these are the colors there. You can use the RGB colors, that's the hash, FF, and so on. So these colors are like, I think you can check it out, RGB and so on. So these are colors we can look at. Now I can just choose aqua here. Okay, now this is very simple. So what I did was I had a color attribute here or color property here, then I set a value of aqua to it. So color, then the color semicolon, then the value should come. So that's what we are talking about. So the property semicolon, the value. So that's what they have written here. Syntax is color, you see. Okay, now we have already added it to our HTML here. So let's see if it will change what we want to do. So now I can go to here, then I'll run this code. Okay, so you can see the color here has been changed. let me quickly increase my font so you can see the color has been changed here. So that's CSS, that's what we are talking about. But before that, we didn't change anything. So you can go to your VS Code. We didn't add any color here. You can see we didn't add any color here, but what we did was take the ID, then we set the color to it. So that's what we mean. So you take the ID, then you set the color to it. So it's a simple process. Now I want to change a particular p tag. Okay, if I just take all the p tags, it will affect all of them. The style will affect all of them. So what can I do? So what I can do is, okay, I can set it a particular ID, then I can take that ID, then style it. So it's simple as that. Now let's say I don't want to tag, I don't want to touch the ID. I want to touch the class rather. Now I've added let's say the class to what two particular tags. So it means that it will affect all the two tags here. So you can see you have another, let's say I have class 1 and another class 2. So you can go here, can go to my browser and reload and see. You can see both of them are being affected by the color. Okay, so that's what we mean by IDs and classes, then CSS. So it's very awesome. Now for CSS, what you need to be particular of will be your properties. So you need to know your properties and the values also. So something like color, the values are like the names of colors, and let's say I think VS Code will help you with that. All you need to do is just type in color and the value should come. Okay.